Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well and staying safe. For this video, we'll be going through a unboxing and review of the Diaclone Universe Clampdown figure. And Clampdown is part of the Transformers Legacy lineup. In particular, he's actually, well, I'm assuming it's a he, is from the Velocitron / Speedia 500 collection. And this particular wave of the Velocitron series came out in 2022. So I thought I would actually try and do something from the Velocitron set, because I've been jumping around between Legacy and the Studio Series stuff. So here we are with something from Legacy, and the other part is Clampdown is basically a repaint of Sideswipe. So this could be a very short video, we will see. So here we have the front of the box for Clampdown. Now, interestingly enough, for these Velocitron sets, they're actually all in their vehicle modes, as opposed to their robot modes, which typically happens in the rest of the Legacy, as well as the rest of the Speed Champions. So I thought that was something really cool to have them in their vehicle modes instead. We have a shot of Clampdown in his robot mode on the side of the box, and we also have we have the insignia for Velocitron / Speedia as well. So if you ever saw Cybertron / Galaxy Force, that was basically the logo of the Cyber Key. I can't remember what it was called in the original Japanese. I actually prefer the original Japanese over the Cybertron dubbing, but anyway. We also have a shot of Clampdown in his vehicle mode on the top of the peg component as well, and another shot of Clampdown as well. So some nice shots of Clampdown over the front of the box. The side of the box is just a continuation of his robot mode there, which is, you can see that there when it's going over the bend, and the other side just some more Clampdown. In terms of the back of the box, it will be a 16-step conversion between his vehicle mode and his robot mode. Speaking of which, we have the robot mode there, we have his vehicle mode there, and I actually do like how it does say this will include a figure, 3 accessories, and instructions. I wonder why 3. I'm guessing that could be the 3rd accessory. So you might have like the overhead, the axe bit, and anyway, doesn't matter. We will find out soon enough. So that's the back of the box. So front, back, everything done. I will open up the box and we will have a better look at Clampdown. Now, because he's already in his vehicle mode, unlike my previous videos, things will go in reverse. We'll actually start with his vehicle mode and then work our way backwards, which will be weird. And with Clampdown out of his packaging, so we have the instructions, as we can expect. We have Clampdown in his vehicle mode. In fact, I feel like this is actually a redeco of Sideswipe from his Cybertronian mode as opposed to a Earth mode, which isn't a major problem. It is a very nice looking mode. So we have Clampdown and the 3 accessories. So we have his over-the-shoulder quote-unquote missile launcher, which can probably be held as a gun. We do have a blaster of sort, which I also assume if you hold it up this way, you can actually attach the light bar. I'm assuming this is how it's done. And basically make it into a axe. So the light bar, surprisingly enough, is actually counted as an accessory. Although to be honest, given that Clampdown is taking a police car motif, one would envision this should belong on top. Now, I'm not sure if there's any real difference between how you put it on, but that's basically the light bar attached to Clampdown. Now, usually I do robot then vehicle mode, so this will be somewhat different, but if I try to stay somewhat standard, Clampdown's manual, so we have a nice shot of Clampdown in his robot mode, and some instructions on where to attach those accessories. So we've already done the light bar side of things, and we'll have a quick look at the weapons attached to his side after we've looked through the manual. In terms of the steps, so nothing too overly complicated. Pretty much starts with getting Clampdown's legs good to go, which I do recall. In fact, I think Sideswipe has appeared in a few bits and pieces in the past. Flipping it over and going through his arms and doing the necessary for his main torso, with a completed Clampdown, transformed in his robot mode, and how to equip the accessories. Me being me, I'm not a huge fan of the weird light bar axe, so I'll probably have him with his shoulder mounted cannon and a handheld blaster. So that was the instructions. As for the accessories, so there's one accessory, the typically the shoulder missile. The front part of it is detachable, which is kind of cool. It does make me remember the good old days when these things actually used to be chrome plated missiles, and there would actually be a button on the missile launcher to launch it. The good old days indeed. So that's that, but it is cool that the missile is also done in a different color. And then here is the other handheld blaster. If I can get it to focus, it's probably a bit too much happening in the background. So that's that, and as we did see earlier, it can be done into an axe, which we'll have a look at more once Clampdown is in his robot mode. In terms of attaching these to his vehicle mode, which I still think is a little bit weird, but it is what it is. So Clampdown with the weapons attached to the side of his chassis. The weapons definitely do look a little weird, but the light bar does look very reasonable. So that was a look of the accessories in his vehicle mode. Now, as for the rest of Clampdown, so in terms of his vehicle mode, it looks really, really cool. Yes, it's a redeco, but in terms of the color applications to be a police car, I think they've done very well. In fact, it kind of reminds me of Prowl from Robots in Disguise, because he was sporting a bit of a Lamborghini look as well. Now, there is some nice detailing on the front, which is very cool, and the white and black do look very nice. And we do obviously have police and some more specialized painted detailing on his side. So in terms of vehicle mode, front of the vehicle mode, the top, side, the back, the underbelly, which is quite neat and tidy, well, at this point in time, and that's the other side as well. So both sides are pretty much the same. So overall, he is sporting a very nice vehicle mode, and I've actually always liked this mold. I do have a few different versions of this mold, Sideswipe being one, Clampdown now being another, and there's a few other ones as well. So yes, I'd say overall from a vehicle mode perspective, it looks very, very nice. It is still very interesting that it is the Cybertronian vehicle mode take on it, although to be honest, it's still quite easily noticeable as a typical Earth vehicle. Well, at least I'm pretty sure this is the Cybertronian version. I can't remember now. I'll have to probably go through my collection, but there you go. So that was the vehicle mode. So what I will now do is do things in reverse, and I will transform him into his robot mode so we can have a quick look at that. So with Clampdown transformed, and that was probably the quickest transformation I've ever done for one of these Transformer unboxing and review videos, mainly because I was quite familiar with the transformation in advance. Here we have Clampdown in his robot mode, looking very nice, and obviously very Sideswipe looking, but that's to be expected. So there we have Clampdown, basically the front of his robot mode. Very nice. Shot from the side, shot from the back, other side from the top, from the bottom. So that is very, very cool. And I will admit, having a very neat and tidy back is always appreciated. Now, before we get too carried away, I guess in terms of the accessories, so if we were to actually accessorize I feel that the accessory, that shoulder thing doesn't seem right. And I mainly say that because it just seems weird if it's going through the back of his head. That seems a bit more intuitive. So there we go. The accessories are now attached, so his hand blaster will slot into his hand very nicely, and the over the shoulder missile will slide in through that little rectangular peg on the top. Does look very cool, and I will admit having that splash of red is very nice. Now, while we are here, we'll just detach his light bar, which is neither here or there. Comes off very quickly. And then there is the axe. It's not too bad. It's definitely not my preference. I do quite like the blaster look, but it is actually quite cool that the weapon itself is multi-purpose, subject to how it is equipped. So we'll get rid of the accessories for the time being. We'll just keep that as that. Detach it. Literally fling it across the table. So in terms of Clampdown in his robot mode, the colours are looking very nice. So that white is coming through quite nicely. We do have some of that black on the bottom of his legs, with some blue for his knee area. The white is also contrasted with some nice light grey. We have a little bit of red in there for the waist, as well as black on the actual waist itself. As for the head, it's pretty much just black helmet with some silver chrome colours, and it looks like he also has blue eyes. In terms of the back, it's pretty much just the white from the vehicle mode. So in terms of colours, very nice. Now, as for articulation, so starting with his head will have a full 360 movement, and it can also move up and down to the side as well. So That's actually quite nice. So if you want to actually have him looking upwards, he can do that. If you want him to look upwards to the, well, his left, he can, and to the right, etc., etc. So that's just some very nice articulation within the head. Don't know why we need to do the full 360, but hey, I keep saying that in every video. In terms of the arms, so the arm will do a full 360 at the shoulder. He will still only have a 90-degree bend at the elbow, and well, he can go a little bit back at the elbow, but I wouldn't recommend it too much. There's the 360 swivel at the top of the arm as well, which is cool. Although I think part of that is from his transformation, not so much the fact that you want to stick his arm out like that. Well, you can do that. You can also stick it out to the back if you really wanted to. His wrist only does this, but that is because of transformation. There won't be any types of swiveling up and down or rotation there. So that is his arms. He will have 360 at his waist. That is an artifact of his transformation. So, but it is cool that he can actually do some of that swiveling in his robot mode, because it does free up the actual ability to pose him and have him looking at a certain swivel and direction, which some of the transformers that I've seen so far in my recent reviews don't necessarily have. Now if I just do that with his arms, in terms of the legs, I guess if we move him to the front a little bit, he can do a full split, bearing in mind that parts of his leg will come into contact with his side, so you might just have to offset that if you want to do the full splits with him. He does have full rotation in the top of the leg, which is good. So that's the waist and the rotation. There is no rotation at the knee, and his knee will probably do just less than 90 degrees. Not that I mentioned it, probably inferred it. His legs can go pretty much all the way back and all the way to the front as well. So with the leg to the front, you'll get that much of a nice little knee bend happening, which actually isn't too bad. Still quite respectable. As I mentioned, nothing at the knee, and there's no, well, there's a little bit of movement in his foot, but it's not really part of the foot, I dare say. Although it's interesting why they do that, because they don't actually need to do that, but it is what it is. So that's a nice little breakdown of the articulation that Clampdown can do. Will he stand on his own 2 feet with no problems? The answer is yes. Yes, he will. Not that you can really tell, because we're pretty much looking down on Clampdown. But yes, he will be able to do that. Now, there is going to be that little tab here that is used to hold his legs together in his vehicle mode, which you just might need to be mindful of when doing different poses with him in the legs, because that could probably, well, won't cause any issues, but just be mindful of it when you pose him. So let's put some of these back on. I am going to make you use this as a blaster, because attach your light bar back in. So, thoughts on Clampdown? Very solid figure. So this is a deluxe figure as well, just in case anyone was wondering. I have mentioned it a few times. Clampdown is effectively just a redeco of the same mold that has been used countless times between, who do we have? Sideswipe, Red Alert. Was it Deep Cover who was the blue deco? But basically, yeah, it's the same mold, just recolored in a different shade, in this case white. In fact, if I have red alert, it'd be interesting to put the two together, just to see how they complement each other. So from a vehicle mode perspective, I quite enjoyed the look of Clampdown. I don't think there was anything that I could really say about his vehicle mode that didn't work well for me. I think the only thing that I would say is, and I say this with all of them, is the adding of the weapons to the vehicle mode. It's good that you can do it, it just seems weird. Yeah, I just for some reason can't get on board with it. Although there are times where it does look a lot more plausible than others. But I will admit, you stick two blasters onto the side of a Lamborghini, yeah, it's not the most best aesthetic. As for his robot mode is very, very solid. I quite like the robot mode. Yeah, the articulation is good, the color apps are good, the very minimal back kibble is great. In fact, it's also very solid, so you're not going to have to worry about moving or detaching things whilst transforming him and posing him, which is really good. Head articulation is very nice. I'm quite surprised with that, even though I'm sure I've probably noticed it before with Sideswipe. I just really haven't clued onto it, given that this is probably the first time I've done an actual review of this particular mod. Yeah, overall, Clampdown is a very solid figure. Now, as I've mentioned, being a redeco, the question of should you get him really comes down to, if you're a Puritan collector, then by all means, yes. If you really like the color scheme, then I would probably say yes. If this is the first time getting this particular mold, I would definitely say yes. If this is your 5th iteration of the mold, well, that is probably where I would say it is up to you. It is a very good mold. The color scheme is good. So you wouldn't go wrong if you were to pick him up, but it really does come down to personal preference and would you want to have another color variation of the same mold. Now, I'm pretty terrible in the sense that I have, and I'm sure there are countless other people who have also done it as well, so I definitely wouldn't suggest anyone to not do it. But yes, it just comes down to your personal preference of how far is too far or how far is not far enough with collecting recolors. But yeah, with that being said, I still feel quite comfortable with Clampdown. It's definitely a nice color set of the mold, and I do know at some point in time I will have to try and crack open through everything else and have a look at it. Although in saying that, any other reviews I do of this particular mold should hopefully be a bit quicker. Mainly because I'll just say, refer to this video, because it's pretty much the same. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah, with that being said, yeah, thank you very much for going through the unboxing and review of Clampdown. Just because I was just looking at my notes, I'm trying to think of a weakness of Clampdown, and I think the only one I can think of is he's just a repaint. It's probably the only thing I can think of, but everything else is pretty solid. As I said, thank you very much for watching this video. Feel free to leave a like, a comment, subscribe if you enjoyed this content. All of this does help support the channel, and I do greatly appreciate it. And obviously I will do another Transformers unboxing and review within a week. Haven't decided who or what. Feel free to drop in the comments if there's anyone in particular you wouldn't mind seeing. Hopefully I have a decent coverage. But I am trying to focus more on the recent releases than the older stuff. So I might actually pop back into normal Legacy and do something from that. We'll see how it goes. Haven't figured it out yet. Other than that, extra content can also be found on my Instagram account, link below. So there will be some Transformer stuff there as well as my run-of-the-mill Gunpla, Playmo, and things like that. Stay safe and take care, and I will catch you all in a future video. See ya.